Good day and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament. This is our weekly broadcast and today will be all about what's happening, and the thing that is happening is that Crazio is dominating the leaderboard by quite a margin, and it's all about the rest this time and the assault on Crazio. As you can see, Ironbot TSUMU is up there with, well, if we scroll down a little bit further, with all three races basically except the Protoss, which doesn't load anymore for some reason. And Microwaves up there, that's pretty good. B-Riva, Killerbot, Purple Wave, Steam Hammer, the usual suspects. So we've got a lot of good games, and without further ado, let's start with Alien versus Lucas Moravec. And Lucas is going for his usual style. It is a cannon first, forge fast expand probably, and the Zerg scout doesn't dare to go in, and oh dear, it's got away with its life, sort of, and Alien going for the pool, and then the in-base third, natural of course already finished, and here comes the quick expansion of Lucas Moravec, very eco-heavy. Lots of probes, 17 probes already, and the Nexus will only cement that lead, because I don't think that... Ooh, here we go. We've got quite a bit of a Zergling presence coming up, and the Zerglings, well, with the Cannon and the Zealot, there's not really much you can do, especially with the good SimCity that Lucas has. And behind that we are going to see a... Whoa, that's pretty ballsy. Could do with another cannon, and I don't really think with... Oh dear, that's going to be... yep, that's the second cannon. You really need that, because you've only got one... Hey, there were two Zealots. Where's the other one gone? Oh, no, that's the probe. I don't know. One Zealot... Oh, two. They are back. Or rebuilt. Or I don't know. So, quite a bit of Zerglings. 2 cannons, 3 cannons, 2 Zealots. Protoss is really safe behind this, and this is, I think, going to be another pylon, because why would you build a cannon there? But double gas and quick starport, quick cyber core, and only 1 gate, so that's interesting. And this, is it going to be some kind of Templar play? I don't know. Alien sticking to 2 bases with Hydra Den, no lair yet, so no lurkers. And no, that's not going to be a 3rd base, just a scout with the drone. Or is this one going to plant a hatchery? No, it isn't, and I don't really know why not. There might be some strange bug. Another drone is going, and the Corsair has taken some nibs at the Overlord. Overlord is going to fall, I think. Alien with the contain, but has some weird issue in getting down a hatchery, and I don't know, is there anything behind this? I don't think so. And now we've got 2 Corsairs going after this Overlord, and Alien's really... Oh, there comes the lair. Really going to be a bit stuck, and it needs to plant down that 3rd, because eco-wise, Lucas Moravec is running out of control. 2 bases uncontested, and if you cannot contest Protoss, you get all kinds of ugly tech up your map. And here comes... Ooh, that was a really stupid path for the shuttle to take. But the Reaver is doing massive damage. And that's the 3rd hatchery. What in the... So, Alien having some major issues planting down that 3rd, and Protoss is all over this with Corsairs and a Reaver, which these poor Zerglings and Hydras don't dare engage. Lots of Corsairs, that's really a lot, and you can see Alien's got quite a bit of Overlords to spare, but hardly any army. It's 16 and it's all in Zerglings and Hydras. Still no 3rd, another hatchery. Eco-wise, it's okay, but you really need a 3rd for the income. And this shuttle is... Oh, we've got an Overlord now. But the Hydra numbers are slowly rising, and the Reaver still at the front. That's going to be an issue. No 3rd yet for Lucas either, so perhaps Alien can make something work, but all these hatcheries are in the wrong location. The Overlords have got speed now, but I'd really... Yeah, there we go. Oh, and the Reaver has taken a toll. What a killing fields these are. Now the Corsairs are being pushed back by the Hydras, and they don't really dare engage these Overlords anymore. So the question is, what's back at home for Protoss? It's another Reaver, no shuttle yet, and 2 starports building Corsairs, but you can only do that up to a point, and still I see drones coming back. I really don't know what it's about. There is enough money, there is nothing here, no spider mine. And the Zerg army is going to contain Protoss indefinitely. You cannot really capitalize on that if you... That's another hatchery. That's really strange. I can't really see this working at all. But well, that's the game. And let's see if it's going to work for either of these players. Now, 3 Reavers, lots of cannons, another gateway, or starport. No, that's a gateway, another pylon. So Protoss running out of building space somehow. It's got a lot here, but nothing doing. And still that drone keeps returning. There is a lot of money. You can build 2 hatcheries, and of course all hatcheries have been built all over the map. 3 here and 3 in the natural. But yeah, whatever. 3rd base for Protoss, really ballsy if you can't really enforce that with gateway units or a Reaver hero there. And Zerg has got the contain pretty much locked down, and oh, this Reaver, it's tight. It's tight, the Reavers can't get out, and Lucas has walled itself in. That's very unfortunate. Only Zealots and Probes can get out, and versus Hydras, that's not the greatest idea. Then again, Alien can't really get a 3rd for the life of it, but has a lot of gateway units, and all these Corsairs mulling about. They don't really... Oh, well, they've got one here, and look at them dancing. That's really some issue they've got. They are just jittering across. Oh, and the Reavers! The Reavers, how did the Reavers get out? And all the Zerg units are dead. And oh god, oh god, oh god. Now it's all Corsairs and Reavers versus 2 base. And still no 3rd. I'd really like to know what is up with that. But the Corsairs and... Oh, the jittery Corsairs, a couple of Mutas. The Reavers are still there. And if the Corsairs micro is that bad, this Overlord is just hovering around the Corsairs for reasons. And these Hydras on the high ground, it's not really tight, but you've got to have some kind of stacked unit composition here in order to get some units out. Still no 3rd for Zerg. Overlords abound. Overlord-wise, it's almost maxed, but it can't take a 3rd. Overlords on all... Oh, is this going to be a drop? Oh, this looks like a drop. Every time I see something move along the edges of the map. And 2 gateways and the single muta. That's very ballsy considering the huge Corsair numbers that are out. And is it going to be a drop? I don't know. No, it's going to be a scout. It doesn't really dare. This is one of the strangest games I've seen recently. Main is mining out for Protoss, and Protoss hasn't got all that much army. And oh, the Lings streaming in, but oh, there is no Reaver actually, so that's unfortunate. Lings are streaming in, still no 3rd for Zerg, but Zerg, oh, the main is mined out, the natural's mining out too. So if Zerg doesn't make this work, this brutal attack on these cannons with the goons and the Corsairs, it's going to be in a world of pain, because it can't then really break the cannons, but the Zealots are dying, and if the Zealots are dying, next up will be... Ooh, that might just be the saving grace, but Alien spots it with a handful of things, is tearing it down, and has managed to plant a 3rd base. Hurrah! So now these Corsairs are fleeing from a single Hydra to Scourge. I don't really see that working, but the Corsair micro is pretty bad. The cannons are still holding, but the main is out, both mains are out, the naturals are out, and this 3rd base has been torn down, and this 3rd base will be up eventually. But oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That might have just been a total attrition of both players. Natural for Protoss is mining out. We've got 2 Reavers. We've got a lot of Corsairs. We've got a handful of gateway Zerglings and Corsairs out on the map. Lots of Overlords falling still. And ooh, the Scourge, impeccable micro. Look at that. All the Corsairs are dropping like flies, and now Protoss is in a bit of a quandary because it's got only 22 army. Oh, Zerg has got 2 army supply. That's not terribly much either. But Zerg finally is mining, and it can only be hoped that a Reaver won't find this. Oh, and a 4th base. Okay, that's how you do it. But that's a really strange bug that Aliens got with the workers. Trying to take a 4th base and all, now it's got no money left, and 1 Reaver is making its way up. And there are 2... Oh, there are 2 Mutas, which will fly by the Reaver, and will then start out-microing this couple of pylons, and oh dear, Dark Templar is always a good pick. But Protoss is out of money, and Zerg has now the 4th operational, the 3rd. Oh, there is a drone transfer, that's pretty good. And the Corsair is seeing it all, but can't really do anything about it with its effective micro. Oh, kill an Overlord, always a good idea. And Zerg will soon be in the lead with the money. Protoss spending money on infrastructure, which is unwise because it has got... Oh, it's got 33 army supply, a couple of Reavers, Dark Templar, Goon, but basically walled in. And no money for Scarabs, oh that's pretty sad. And the Lings kill it. And the Dark Templar is being set on by Devourer, oh good. And I must say I like Alien's unit composition. Its macro leaves a little bit to be desired. The Muta kills the Dark Templar, and now these goons are being brought home. More bases taken by Alien. Alien fine. Oh god, that's pretty good. That's an Ultra Cavern, and the worker count was 70 workers on one base. A Guardian 2. So that's pretty good. Great Aspire, no Defiler Mount. That could be improvement. But you can see that Protoss is out. Zerg's still mining. Oh, sorry. Got a bit of a selection thing, but now it's entirely my fault. And the Guardian with the Lings tear it down. We've got 3 Guardians now, and I'm sure more will follow. All the bases are being taken in succession by Alien, and now these 3 Guardians with a lot of Zerglings. Ooh, that was a good shot. These Reavers obviously still have some Scarabs left in them. Ooh, and another good one, but the Guardians are all over this. And the last goon, oh no, the penultimate goon snuffs it, and now that's the last goon, and the rest is static defenses. And I think that's not really going to work. I need to tune this down just a notch, because I think it's pretty loud. And Alien now, oh, this base is still untaken, but here comes the drone. Alien is let loose, could have done this much earlier. All the bases taken. That's the GG. Alien beating our good friend Lucas Moravec. So next game, I have another PVZ or ZVP, depending on where you're standing, and it's Microwave this time. Oh, Microwave and not Alien. Sorry if I messed things up earlier. And McRave has been working hard, also working hard to snipe Crazio, and that takes some doing. But we'll soon find out if it's going to work or not. Scouting probe, handful of Zerglings, usual suspects. We've got a shield battery in the main with a handful of zealots unable to catch that scouting drone. And it's a 2 versus 1 base situation, but the 2 base situation decides to defend. Oh, now moving out. Sorry. And now we've got a war in our hands. Nice concave at the ramps. Usually if you are going 1 base, you need some kind of super tech to make it work, because the Hydras will... Oh, we've got a fair number of goons. The goons need to stay up on the ramp though, because there are so many Hydras, and even 2 Overlords being flobbered over slowly. Protoss now with a huge army, almost double the weight, exactly double, more than double the weight of the Zerg army in supply. Zerg has got the Hydras though, and if you've got a critical mass of Hydras, you are in a good position. Zerg though now spending money on a lair and losing some units here and there. That's unfortunate. Now supply blocked. And of course there are 3 Sunkens with a handful of Hydras. You might hold this, but ideally you would have taken a 3rd. Oh, and another Overlord. That's very sloppy. Now 2 Overlords down before any units can be made. Protoss still on 1 base, reinforcing the push with a couple of Zealots, and now taking a containing position except for this bridge. Now Zerg on 10 army supply, not really too much, only 15 workers, and Microwave, of course, is known for its very... Oh, there we go, the Protoss army walking in. The Zerg army is not fighting in tandem with these Sunkens. That's unfortunate, but there is a 3rd Sunken coming up. And no natural for McRave. McRave going for the Templar tech, I think, and if it's going to be High Templars, these few Zerg units won't do too much. This, I think, is one of these is going to be Aspire, the other a Hatchery. And Microwave, I find it very ballsy how Microwave always seems to do things on 2 bases, and only when the enemy is defeated take more bases. Running in Dark Templars won't do you much good. 2 goons are stuck on each other. Oh, 3 now, that's unfortunate. Now Protoss pushing in again, but with... oh, this Sunken is going to fall, surely. and Zerg is not really defending as well as it could. Now, 4th sunken, and if you got 3 or 4 sunkens in a row, that's a lot of damage potential and also a lot of DPS to buffer for your fighting units. But Nexus planted in the natural for McGrave. McGrave going to out-expand, out-macro the Zerg. Already the army is double, and although there is a Spire, what can you do off 2 bases with only 14 workers? That's not an awful lot. Microwave, I think, is stuck. Oh, and there are only Zealots and 2 Mutants, so that's unfortunate. The Zealots can't really get much done. The Observer snuffs it, and now we've got 3 Mutants doing an awful lot of Zealots, and that's a strange matchup, I can tell you. We've got a High Templar, that's good. Small sneak peek at the Storm tab. We've got Storm, so that will be interesting to see. Only there aren't really too many Mutants and they aren't clustered, but let's see how this is going to play out. The High Templar is walking in and immediately sat on by these Mutants. Of course, sat on would be better, but sat on is much more descriptive. The Zealots are, and this is really strange, it's going to be a pure Zealot with some High Templar composition. There are Mutants in the main, not in the natural, but Microwave. For some reason, Microwave is doing this. The Zealots can't go anywhere. There is a war of Sunkens with Hydras, and some Zealots overhead. What's being built? More Mutants are being built, and if you don't build Goons or any kind of Corsair or whatever, I'd say you've got the infrastructure. You can build another shield battery for reasons, but a couple of Goons and this would have been cleared up long ago. Microwave now broken out, but still not too intent on taking another base, and that's really something. Now, all the probes are gone. 0 probes left, some money in the bank. McGrave not really building anything at the moment. And the Mutants have this. So McGrave, good start, but then keeling over. And by now there are so many Mutants. Hello, what a fleet of Mutants. We've got 20 Mutants, 8 Zerglings, handful of, and still no 3rd base. So that's really weird. 2 base Muta into GG. Let's get into the next game. Let's see if McGrave is doing better versus TSU Zerg. And the initial stage of the game, of course, a little bit faster than we are used to. McGrave going for a 1 base play again, it looks like, with the shield battery. And now Goon, so that's always good. Goons are good. You can do more against Hydras and Mutas. TSU with the quick natural, of course, going for a lot of lings, but keeping them roaming the map, not wasting them too much. McGrave, I don't really know if this 1 base play is viable. Huge potent army out on the map though, and if TSU's only got Zerglings, it's going to be a bit of going to need a bit of fighting to wear this Protoss army down. This creep colony is no sunken yet, so that's very unfortunate too. And TSU's only got the option of building Zerglings and only 2 hatcheries, so these Zerglings need to fight really hard, 2 at the rear, taking down the Zealot reinforcements. And oh, half of the war train is chasing these 2 Zealots. That's very unfortunate. McGrave could really have made a crack at the expansion. Now 3rd base up for TSU. 4th base is flubbering in, and McGrave still on 1 base now with the starport. But I think that this 1 base Protoss play is not really worth it. The Goons though have the number of these Zerglings, so that should be good. TSU, what will the next step be? I think it looks like a lot of Zerglings. It's got this one strategy where it tries to do everything with pure Zergling, and there are quite a number of Zerglings out on the map already. These Goons need to micro a little bit better. The drones being transferred, but oh, the Zealots is taking down quite a number of them, and there is no defense against Corsairs, of course. This 1 Zealot is caught now, and that is a bit of the end of the pressure. There are some Zealots here chasing this 1 Zergling, which has led it back to the 4th base. McGrave finally taking the natural. That's very, very, very late, especially if you've got map dominance. And by now there is an army out of 30 Zerglings, and with TSU's micro, that's nothing to scoff at. Some Zerglings come here to help catch these Zealots, and some come over here to help contain this little bit of an army. Drone transfer successful, sort of. Hatchery under attack, and TSU will now have to defend, but it can't really make its way up across the ramp. Now more Zerglings are in there, but they don't really dare engage that Zealot, and now the Zealot moves out, the Lings stream in, and that is the end of the siege of the 4th base, I think. And if TSCMU can get 4 bases up versus a 2-base Protoss, it doesn't really matter if it's only Lings, it's going to be a bloodbath. The Zealots are now on the run, one makes its way out. Are there more Zerglings here to stop the outflow of Zealots? No, there isn't. Worker-wise, TSCMU doing this on 23 workers, that's pretty low. Saturation in the main isn't very good, in the natural is okay. We've got 2 Corsairs, TSCMU is sort of blocked, but still has got a lot of money. And the Zealots have been expelled, 2 are being chased still. Is there Zergling speed? Yep, there is. Lots of upgrades for goons, range, and then there is nothing on the part of Protoss. So Protoss, with the superior army, I'd say, in strength, not in numbers, because that's all Zerglings and that's almost 60 of them. More Corsairs coming up. Oh, 2 gates, that's pretty ballsy. And the Lings are running wild. The Lings are running wild. There are 2 Corsairs and TSCMU. What is TSCMU doing? Building a lot of drones. Going for a round of drones. Drones. And Protoss sitting back, and that's, I'd say, is rather dangerous. All the Corsairs are congregating over here. There is nothing there really. TSCMU really only making drones, perhaps upgrades as well. Not too many. The question is, where is TSCMU spending its money? All in drones. So if you have got this number of Lings, oh, this is a pretty ball. Oh, that was a one-shot at Overlord. And another one. Nah, that's pretty good. Small peak, we've got 10 Corsairs in a row here. So they do about 50 damage a shot. Splash. Pretty good. TSCMU now scanning the map with all of its Zerglings. 50 army supply in Zerglings. McGrave sitting back with Zealots and goons. TSCMU flopping about with Overlords. I don't know what they're going to do. Have they got something to drop? I don't know. Or are they just scanning? And McGrave running out of building space. TSCMU not taking a 5th base, but that 50 army supply is all in Zerglings, and that's going to be the hive, surely. And we've now got 10, yeah, still 10. All the Scourge die instantly, and TSCMU's got a bit of a problem here, which it can't do too much about. The Zerglings won't stop it, but you can see now in the middle of the map, you've got 70 supply worth of Zerglings swarming. And this is going to be a major problem, because Protoss hasn't got +1. Zerg's got 3 armor upgrades, a 2, 2-1. And the Zerglings are fighting really hard. They are losing huge numbers. The Zealots are holding their ground somewhat. There is a Dark Templar in there, which is doing a lot of damage. But all in all, TSCMU is just... wow, what a bloodbath. And the High Templar, the Dark Templar dies. The Zealots sort of hold, even without the Dragoons. McGrave has got 60 army supply, lost about 30 or 40. Problem is, it can't really reinforce, and TSCMU now taking a 5th base, and that's really not boding well for Protoss. The Corsairs are out now, and TSCMU really should do something about that. The Scourge can't really touch it, and TSCMU needs to have air dominance to get the Overlord count up, because it can't really produce. It's sort of supply blocked. And we had 10 Corsairs, now 8 left. Protoss is sort of pushing, but it's not really working, because still many Zerglings, and TSCMU is really producing. Oh, and now they're running. They could have killed this Zealot's pocket, this handful of Zealots easily. 5th base is up though. Some workers are being transferred. And this Zealot TSCMU is so all over the map. But the Zealot army is now finally defeated. And, ooh, that's a storm. That's pretty good. But there are just too many Zealots, I fear. And a 6th base for TSCMU. So if you don't take a 3rd now, you're mining out your main. 50 army supply. Ooh, those are clutch storms. That's pretty well done. So that might actually bring McRae back into the game. He needs to kill bases now and take one of his own. It's 50 versus 16 army supply. The Corsairs still have got this. The Corsairs have got this. There is no anti-air, only a handful of Scourge. And the Lings. So TSCMU with a totally ridiculous build order. Only Lings and Scourge versus Protoss on 2 bases. Protoss doesn't really dare expand at the moment. High Templars going back to roost and to gather energy. And the Corsairs are killing Overlords left and right. TSCMU is almost supply blocked, and if he is, Protoss has got a huge army, and TSMU, oh well, here, the Corsairs are going to hover here, and now they find these Overlords. So TSMU will be supply blocked. That's going to be a bit of a problem. Still lots of Zerglings. The upgrades of the Zerglings are way superior to that of Protoss, but TSMU is so supply... No, it's not really supply blocked at this moment. And now it's 6 versus 1 bases, and Protoss really needs to play its card rather well to be able to stay in this game for another couple of minutes, because without a third and a natural's got a lot of energy still, so that minerals, so that's not a problem. But McRave needs to be killing bases now, immediately, and TSMU's got a lot of Zerg, a lot of Scourge, and oh, the Zerglings are fighting so hard, dying in such huge numbers, and the Corsairs are dying, only 3 left. And if the Corsairs are gone, that means, and that's only 3 left, McRave is still building them, but there is no longer the critical mass of 10, and this poor Dark Templar is being skewered by these pitiful attacks of the Zerglings, but there are so many Zerglings, and now you can see there is no Corsair out on the map. The map is alive with Zerglings everywhere, all the bases are being taken. TSMU is running absolutely wild. This Zergling taking a peek at this base. There will be a drone underway, and Protoss will have to defend pretty well, but there are going to be so many Zerglings in just a moment. Protoss army is down to 20, TSMU is at 42. No other units are being made than Zerg and Zerglings, and Zerglings all. No +1, and that's crack, that's speed, and that's 3-3 with Overlord speed. And watch this slaughter about to pop up. 60 supply, and that's all in Zerglings. Hello, my dears. And this is like the scene of the Matrix. And of course there is an Archon, of course there are Dark Templars. Here come the Storms, and the Storms, oh god, it's a meat grinder. And now with the Archon and the Storms and the Zealots and the huge, that was 40 supply worth of Zerglings just evaporating in seconds. There are 2 Archons now, there are a couple of Zealots and a Dark Templar, a couple of more, there is gas, there's still a little bit of gas, perhaps a couple of Templars you might hold for a little bit, but TSMU is building more and more hatcheries, and this game is over, but I want to see the final onslaught, and all these Lings are protecting these buildings, and once they have reached a sufficient number, they swarm out onto the minimap. If you look at the minimap, this is so very, very beautiful. That's 120 plus Zerglings, and Protoss is up for a pretty tough barrage of Zerglings. Archons and Dark Templars, no Overlords yet, so TSMU, the Zergling numbers are getting a little bit depressed, but there is an Overlord coming up, and now this Dark Templar, oh, and the Overlord's moving back again, but another one's coming. So this Dark Templar is wading through a field of Zerglings, 2 more Dark Templars, but they're being chased by so many Zerglings. Now it's 2 Archons, 1 Storm, oh, it's 2 Storms, it's okay, but it's not enough. The Zerglings are pouring in, even taking on Archons, and as a Zergling, that's something normally you'd never ever do. The Archons are falling. TSMU on 63 army supply. Protoss down to... Oh, that Storm totally flops. Can morph 1 more Archon. Should do it now, but as you can see, this game is over. TSMU on only 50 workers. So there is a lot of potential for a lot of Zerglings. And the natural is alive with Zerglings. Is there 1 more Storm? 1 more Storm for good measure. 1 Archon. And that's 14 army supply. What's it in, I wonder? 2 Dark Templars. Oh, and the Dark Templars are really doing number. 1 Corsair, and it's keeping the Archon, the Overlord at bay. And the Dark Archon, oh, the Dark Archon dies. 1 more Storm, but TSMU is now on 74 army supply. Still lacking 2 bases. That's unusual. But okay, well, that's the GG. McRave, well fought, but let's not put you through any more suffering. And let's get into the next game, which is Nightcat Protoss versus Roman Danielis. And Nightcat Protoss is a bot by Nightcat, and Nightcat has been developing these bots for big game hunters play, so basically 1 base. And if you are going to switch to normal money maps, you need build orders, which are slightly different than also micro. And I thought, well, Roman Danielis, the good old Protoss, which can use all the spells. I've seen it use Disruption Web, which is pretty good. Can use all the spells, all the units, a little bit slow, so I thought, well, perhaps. You can see it's not taking a natural, it's sitting back with the first initial wave of Zealots, not really doing too much. Army supply wise, that's about equal to what's happening here. Lots of Zealots. Cyber core here, no cyber core there. Cyber core finally finished. No goon range and the first skirmishes, and there goes the first expansion for Nightcat, and it's about similarly timed with that of Roman Danielis. Roman Danielis now taking to the map with Probe for support. I think it's a mascot, or I don't know what it's going to do actually. Army wise, these players are pretty equal. Upgrade wise, range coming up for Nightcat, no range for Roman, and Roman with the Zealots leading the charge, but with the defender's advantage and the goons in the background. I can't really see this working at all, especially since the goons of Roman Danielis are left behind, and that's basically throwing away 20 army supply, which is unfortunate, which it may come in handy later. And we've got such an interlude again, which in which nothing much happens, neither player really expanding, just building units, keeping the money down. Ooh, and there we go. Nightcat moving out to check the third base with half the army, the other half is coming later. And Roman Danielis with the inferior army is moving out. Let's check the upgrades for a bit. We've got Nightcat has got some upgrades, and Roman Danielis has got nothing, but the army is out in the third, and Danielis is hammering down the nexus of the natural, and that might be... oh, that might be worth losing a bit of army supply, I can tell you, especially if Roman Danielis has got the third operational. Almost. Oh, almost. So it's a 2 versus 2 base, but this nexus has been hammered down, rebuilt immediately, and Nightcat now has a bit of an edge, I would say, in army supply, but isn't really pounding on the enemy, is not really going for the counter-attack. And Roman Danielis with the starport, ooh, and Nightcat going for a fourth. So that's a declaration of war. Worker transfer back to the to the third. No worker transfer for Roman, and it's going to be a 4 versus 3 base situation. I think Nightcat being so in the lead is going to cement that lead by just building more units, more production buildings, and perhaps a Reaver hero there, or some Templar tech. Have we got? No, we haven't got too much. And I think that Nightcat has this. The Zealots are in front, and this is a pure goon army, and pure goon armies don't do very well versus goon Zealot armies. And Nightcat is victorious. Now it's 50 versus 10 army supply, and although Roman has got the fourth, Nightcat decides it's time for party and move in. 4 cannons though, that's good, but there is just too much Protoss army for Nightcat, I fear, and going into the third as well, or the fourth. So the cannons and the goons are sort of holding with a couple of rallies, 2 more cannons on the high ground, but there is just a lot of damage being done also to probes, and that's the 5th base for Nightcat. Nightcat really impressing me. Nothing too fancy, lots of observers, but they don't really do anything. No Dark Templars, no High Templars, and ooh, the Reaver for Roman Danielis coming in the nick of time and liberates the natural. Now it's 3 versus 4 bases, 5th base coming up, 4th base being retaken for Roman Danielis, and suddenly we've got a pretty good PvP on our hands. A couple of units running in for Nightcat, but with the Reaver, the cannons and the goons, that's going to be short work. 6th base for Nightcat though, and wow, that's some macro, I can tell you. But yeah, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, there is not enough gateways, and Nightcat can't keep its money down. High Templar, that's pretty good. Will we have Storm too? Storm, oh, Disruption Web, and the, what's that? That's the Hallucination upgrade, for some reason. Now, ooh, the Reaver got caught in the front. This Reaver isn't fighting. Oh, and we've got the, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The observers for Nightcat have been demolished. We've got a scout too, that's pretty cruel. And the probes are being transferred, but now Roman Danielis is having to defend into... oh, here come the disruption webs, but unfortunately the goons just walked underneath, from underneath them, and left the building. Now it's a 4 versus 6 base situation. Roman Danielis has got the army lead, and that's mainly because Nightcat can't really spend the money. Nightcat is poking on multiple positions, and the large army of Roman Danielis is being pulled back and forth. There is not enough money for another disruption web, but ooh, that's a pretty good storm. There will need to be more army around here, and the Reaver's staying there. You can see now Nightcat is just running away with this, and would be running away with this even faster if you had more construction buildings. And that's really a limiting factor at this moment. Oh, and that's pretty good. The Reaver! Oh, and the Reaver is micro-crawly and dies. Unfortunate. Another Reaver is coming in though, but this base is heavily... oh, that's a pretty good combination. Reavers and Disruption Web. One more shot, yep, there we go, and now it needs to kill those. That's Reaver is really doing work on the gateway units of Nightcat. Nightcat making this the Hammerhead. All the units are being streamed in here. There will be 2 Reavers soon though, so that's, I fear, not really going to work. And I fear that there is not enough money for Roman to defend these expos. And that leads to a lot of probe loss here. Nightcat, meanwhile, has won the Kalmurian Combine mission with 10,000 minerals stacked. Oh, and that's a pretty good one. Would like to see some cover units for these Reavers, because they got a bit of hit points, but they are not too strong. And this base is hammered into the ground by Nightcat. Nightcat, I think, has got the smaller army, but overall the better papers to win this game. Another cannon up for Roman. And oh, that's pretty ballsy, taking the base while the assimilator is still standing. And this base is down. So, ooh, that was a feedback. That was pretty pro. A feedback on a High Templar. The first time, can we do that again? We can do that again. Oh, wow. Okay, so somewhere around here, Dark Archon is being morphed. That's pretty good. And Dark Archon is making its way out. Of course, this base is being hammered. And there should be... yeah, here comes the High Templar. And now there is a Dark Archon, which does not pose a threat. There are Dark Templars, which are demolishing the units of... oh, well, it was feedback, but it hardly had any energy left, so that was unfortunate. Base falling for Roman Danielis, and Roman Danielis now down to 1 base. Army supply is severely depressed, and Nightcat has got 121 workers, is maxed on 60 army supply. That's also a consideration which might be sort of capped, because you can see every time a unit dies, and won't happen too much anymore, but there are still workers being built. It was 121 and 127 now. So that's quite a bit of army, and that might be its undoing, because if army units die, Nightcat will rebuild them with workers. Oh no. Roman Danielis is out. Only got 3 fighting units left. And although the worker count is still rising for Nightcat, this is over. It only needs to take this base. Yep, there we go. That's the GG. Nightcat, pretty well done. Let's get into the next game, because Crazio, 200 ELO points ahead of the rest of the pack. That's quite impressive. Of course, you get huge diminishing returns. And we've got 4-Spot from the Gold Project, and 4-Spot, well, the Gold Project always say, well, they look a bit sluggish, but if you keep developing it, something might turn up. And Crazio, that's more than 200 with the next one, and that's a lead that's hard to break. That means that Crazio's got a winning strategy versus every bot out there. That's really something. Crazio being very defensive with the bunker, 2 SCVs just standing by with the turret, and only now building 2 factories. 4-Spot capitalizing on that with the... oh, hello. Slow down. That's a Lurker. Lurker strat and a natural expansion. So pretty good for a gold bot. And the Lurker, ooh, just in range and with the tank in the rear. Crazio's quite safe from this small attack. There is a contain, however, and worker-wise, 18 workers is okay. 3rd being taken. Now Crazio moving out slowly with the tanks. And scan right on top of the Lurker. Only 1 Lurker won't do it versus Crazio, I'm afraid. Although he's only got 1 comsat, so if you run in a couple of Lurkers and some... No. Turrets up. So this position again is quite safe. But 30 workers for 4-Spot and no natural yet for Crazio, so perhaps Forcebot may be able to pull some kind of ridiculous thing out of somewhere. Oh, and this drone is very unfortunate. Oh, and oh, no, the Vulture forgets it. Right before dying, the Vulture forget that there is a drone, and that's really atypical, but that's still a challenge that Crazio has. We've now got a Muta switch versus a 1 base, which is defending versus ground with a lot of tanks and a bunker and some turrets. But suddenly it's a 4 base, a 3 versus 0 base, and worker-wise, Forcebot is equal to Crazio, so the saturation is pretty good. And Crazio can't really get in. And Forcebot is now chasing this one Vulture with a lot of Lings and some Mutas. More Mutas are coming up. Ooh, and this Vulture is going to have a lot of kills. Oh god, oh god, oh god, there is nothing here. The army doesn't seem to be responding at all. There is an Overlord coming to check it out, but that's 4, 5, 6. Oh god, the number of workers is dropping precipitously, and that's very unfortunate. Oh, the Muta finally thinks, well, let's not, or whatever. And so, micro-wise, decision-wise, Forcebot's got a bit of work to do. Crazy now with the natural up. More turrets, more tanks. Crazio's quite safe. The question is, how many Mutas have we got? We've got 16 Mutas, which haven't done anything yet. Forcebot is gathering them. Crazio taking a third. This third is vulnerable. And Crazio now showing the Muta weapon, taking down the first 2 Goliaths, taking down an SCV. Oh, but there are so many Goliaths, and Crazio has seen this before. Has seen the Overmind, has seen Simp, the carrier bot by Thomas Weider, and if it spots anti-air, it will just make Goliaths, and only, well, it's a 2 base, and Forcebot has taken yet another one. So it's 4 bases. Workers have been replenished. They are not being defended, they are being replenished. And there are so many Mutas already. Have we got upgrades? We've got upgrades too, so that's pretty impressive. The Mutas, though, they can't really, surely they can't get anything done versus this number of Goliaths. Crazio has got the range upgrade, has got the... oh no, hasn't got the +1 weapons upgrade. Has got some tech. Has got the Irradiate too, so that might come in handy should Forcebot stick to Pyramid. And the Mutas are being ground into the Goliaths, and the Goliaths are firing, but the Mutas keep on pressing. That's really... Forcebot balls to the wall, but now decides to retire. And this was almost broken. If they had been a little bit more decisive, there are not that many Goliaths, and more Goliaths are being streamed in now. Perhaps if you run around, hit this base, the Goliaths can't be everywhere at once, and Forcebot has taken another base. The worker count is out of control. That's really, really impressive. Regenerate some hit points. Crazio will have the +1 soon. Perhaps you might get some more upgrades for these Mutas if you're... and another base for Forcebot. Crazio's got 3 bases, but the Goliaths can only be in one place at once, and there are 2 science vessels which have... oh, and the Mutas come in! Oh, but they don't dare commit! They could have raised this base to the ground long before any army would have been there. Crazio now has gotten wind of it and building more turrets. That's quite a bit of turrets. I don't know if that bunker is populated. The middle base also being taken by Forcebot. Forcebot going out of control. 90 workers, lots of Mutas, but these Mutas will need to go and fight. And there they go. More Mutas are being added to the flock. And more hatcheries too. So how quickly can you raise this base to the ground? The Mutas... oh no! There is a large portion in reserve for some reason. And now Crazio is moving out with the Goliaths to defend. The vessels are still remaining in the rear. The Mutas are all over this. They're tearing down all the cannons, and if they camp the ramp, they are in a good position. But oh no! They're retreating, and still there are Mutas here in the rear. I don't know what that's for. 100 workers for Zerg. And if you've got 100 workers and a map you need to trade or at least commit, wasting 4 or 5 turrets and a bunker is just not enough versus Terran, because Crazio's army, although it's inferior now, it will grow and it can fight cost efficiently with these Goliaths. There are so many Goliaths. Have got still no weapons upgrade for Crazio. It's got Irradiate though, so that's going to be a problem. And more workers for Forcebot. Forcebot is maxed on Mutas and workers. Crazio taking a 4th. Forcebot though is really... if this Mutaflock, because Crazio is going to leave the base once again. If you have got better information on where the enemy is, Oh, now Crazio is moving out with a Matrix Goliath. That's pretty good. The army of Forcepot is all here. It's all in one place. And Crazio should not be caught out of position. Here comes the army again. It's only going after the turret. And then after the two Goliaths, the army movement is so sluggish. But now it's got the ramp cannon. There are some ground units too, so this base might actually fall. And Forcepot has got so many units. But look at the Goliaths. They are doing so... Oh god, and oh no. They're retreating over the direct firing range. It's like shooting clay pigeons, and that's something that Crazio would really like to do. And the command center is still standing. You might prioritize that a little bit higher. So if you raise that, Crazio will be on 2 bases, and you've got the map. And Forcepot now needs to rebuild, but it's got such a bank. It's got 103 workers. It's absolutely insane, but it needs to fight. If you've got this many forces, the enemy is contained to this little corner of the map. And here comes the army again. Oh no, it's going to hover in sight range. Crazio's army, although it's not really yet equal, it is because Forcepot's got such a lot of workers, it can't really make more army. It's maxed, and it's now caught this dropship, but the mutas are so sluggish, it's like they only get 1 move command every 2 seconds or something. And if you look at TSC Moose mutas, or anyone else's mutas for that reason, they are so much more responsive. These mutas, they drop dead for time, and now they are... Yeah, there we go. So now what will Crazio do? He's got 3 bases, which is a good position. I think he's going to sit back and let that army grow. And Forcepot should really do something about this, because you've got 10 and 2k stacked. You've got a huge army. You are max. You've got the map. You've got 100 workers. You've got the trade. Throw away all of this for 1 base of Crazio's and you win. You can remax almost instantly on Hydras. Not on mutas, you need a little bit more gas for that. Or you can make a round of Zerglings and waste that just to keep Crazio down a little. And Forcepot is not doing anything. Oh, here it comes again. Here it comes again. Crazio's got 2 turrets. And sniping 1 turret and then moving back. And that's... But I really like Forcepot's game plan. But Crazio's got enough. It's disregarding the position of the third. It's poking into the middle expansion where it's 1 muta which falls. And it's going to be a base trade because... Oh no. That's really not... That's bad decision making on the part of Forcepot. It's still got the superior army, I feel. It's got the mobility. And Crazio now pacifying the middle base and taking a toll on these mutas. And Forcepot could remax instantly. Is not doing so. It is so... It's really a little bit sluggish, I feel. It hasn't even got enough overlords. It's losing a 3rd base. And it can't tear down Crazio's 3rd, even though it's not really defended at all. And just keeping lots of units stacked here. Crazio is now maxed. Forcepot not, for some reason. Got a lot of larvae, got a lot of money. Needs some overlords. And Crazio, yeah, well, what can Crazio do? Crazio is just going to take down bases, just going for the push down the middle. And a lot of... Oh, here are some mutas as well. So we've got mutas here, mutas there. And some mutas being lost randomly. No overlords being built. Forcepot really dropping the ball here, I feel, because these Goliaths are just going to tear everything down. Finally, this base is being depopulated and razed. And the Goliaths still have got some way to go before they have the main. They have only 3 tanks. More mutas are coming. The Irradiates, though, doing a lot of damage, but the Goliath count is slowly dropping. More Goliaths being reinforced. Crazio rebuilding the base here, having demolished this base there as well. And now it's 100 versus 37 army supply. I think Crazio's got this. Forcepot has still got a huge bank and is producing units now at a somewhat efficient rate, but Crazio has broken loose, has got 75 workers, 125 army supply, and Forcepot fighting really, really hard for the main. So many mutas, and now spending its bank. The gas bank is out, but Forcepot has won the battle for its own main, and Crazio is... Oh well, these vultures don't dare venture into here. Forcepot is still not out of this, but Crazio's harassing it everywhere. The worker count is down, the natural is gone, the main is gone, 2 bases mining. And although there is an okay-ish army, Crazio is maxed. It will not become unmaxed. And now the Mutas will fight hard again, but they don't fight hard enough. Crazio at this point is an unstoppable behemoth with so many Goliaths, with the tanks, with the vessel cloud. And the vessels, though, let me select all the vessels, please. God, come here. They are so unpredictable in their movement. But Crazio has got this. Look at the map, mines everywhere. Only one more base for 4-spot. Huge mineral bank. Could have built 200 rounds of Zerglings. And is not doing so. So, macro-wise, part of it is okay. Taking all the bases is okay. But then you should just spend the money, trade, and commit to killing bases. Because, this base has been rebuilt. Has been harassed a little again. But Crazio is just too good. But that's really a sniping attempt on the life of Crazio, I feel. And 4-spot really surprises me positively, because coming from a new bot on a new platform and producing such results is very impressive. Some Mutas still here, and you can see there is 8k left in the bank. No drones are being built. This base isn't doing anything either. That's really unfortunate. So I'm going to call the GG, and Crazio wins. Next game, it's bwapi versus IceLab. Why bwapi? Because bwapi is pretty high up in the rankings as well. It's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 6th place, and as it hasn't been updated so regularly as the other bots have, I thought, well, let's have a look. And IceLab, of course, is a good benchmark, because it's a very solid terrain, and it can play very, very well. So now we see some Protoss units here. Wall-ish here. It's not tight, but it's okay with the bunker. And now with the tank. Tanks on the high ground. Still only Icebot is using the high ground to its advantage for drops, for tank positions like these. And I don't care how many goons you are bringing to a tank fight. If the tanks are on the high ground and covered by a bunker, you are not going to walk in there with goons anytime at all. So, bwapi taking the expansion same time as Ice. Ice now 3 tanks on the high ground, and here come the Vulture. So that's always a timing you have with Ice. If you can prevent the Vultures from exiting the base, Ice will not really have such a good hold on the map, and bwapi is sitting back at home. Oh dear, here we go. We've got a Reaver in a shuttle, small gateway army, huge minefield, and a pretty good tank position. So Ice should be okay. Natural is up. It's a 2 versus 2 base. No third base being taken by bwapi yet. Some reinforcements, and the shuttle is going to do... Ooh, the Marines are coming out. That's... well, that's the first shot. Second shot. 2 pretty good shots being shot. And, oh, third. Pretty well done. And now venturing into the main. Ooh, that's another good one. And Ice really seems to be underestimating the danger of that Reaver. In fact, it's pretty dangerous. You can see that here. There is not much anti-air. There is a Goliath coming up now. It hasn't got the range upgrade yet. And Ice has just lost a lot of workers and is dropping a little bit in supply. And, ooh, that is some pretty good Reavering, I can tell you that. bwapi, though, should be taking the third. And that's how you sweep a mine with an observer, not walking any combat units in. That would be silly. Ice still okay, not taking the mineral only. But this tank wave is going to be a bit of a problem for bwapi later on. But for the time being, bwapi is doing pretty well with this shuttle. There is no Wraith, no Goliath. Oh, and finally the Reaver takes an unfortunate position over here to drop and dies. Third base, mineral only is taken. Fourth base, bwapi is going into macro mode, and Ice is lagging a little bit behind. Has got a very good position. Imagine taking this with gateway units. That will really need General George Patton. Ice, ooh, that is pretty well done. Trying to prevent the third, and the non-tank units can of course be clipped by the goons. And we've got a High Templar in the rear, and oh, a High Templar stuck on a mine. That's unfortunate. And now bwapi clipping the third of Ice. Now the tanks are coming to bear. Oh, and the supporting units aren't there yet, and that is, oh, a sort of a miss-hit. But the tanks are stuck here, and not enough are here. A couple of tanks here on the high ground might be great versus this kind of battle. And it shows you that the high ground use of Ice is still somewhat selective, because you've got this main base natural situation where you can put a couple of tanks on the high ground and then fortify thusly. But it's something different to put some tanks up on the high ground to cover your units in a battle here, or put them, where have you got more high ground? I don't know. Oh well, that's about it. Only the main bases are high ground on this map. But this is also a good position just to take, just for tank fire. Very deadly. So bwapi being in a pretty good position. Ice is trying to retake the third. But nope, there you go. Zealot's still out there. And Ice on 2 bases is not in too good a position. And it's not really dealing as well with this Reaver shuttle as it could. Might take the mineral only just for some extra. Oh, and that was the Bulldog. That was pretty good. Lots of damage done, and you can see that Ice hasn't really gotten along with all these modern players with the tank Goliath combination. And now Ice has taken a third again. Immediately spotted by an observer, and units are venturing out on the map to try and stop that, I imagine. But now Ice is projecting more force on the middle of the map. Army supply wise, it's okay, especially with those tanks, they are pretty good. And the Reaver is being beaten back once again. Some Zealots are dying, and you can see Ice is getting back into the map. Ooh, we've got Arbiters, that's pretty cool. And again, the third base is being cut down, being stopped. We've got 2 Arbiters, and of course you can scan, but how many scans have you got? 1 comsat here, 1 comsat there. Main is mined out, natural will be mined out soon if it's going to be hyper saturated like this. Ice is taking a third though, it will have to, but this army of bwapi is going to be a huge problem. Army supply wise, Ice is doing okay, especially if you are fighting with mines and tanks versus a gateway army. And the Goliaths, ooh, lots of stasis, that's pretty good. And Ice now, oh god, that's pretty good fighting by bwapi. Pulling back every once in a while, that's unfortunate. And losing an Arbiter for nothing, basically, that's also unfortunate. But the Reaver and Zealot drops of bwapi are doing so much damage, and the third is still not up. In fact, it's down, it's exploded again. Ice now down to 1 base, bwapi not taking another base yet, but still building more production, and we saw that was the problem of, what was it? Nightcapped Protoss had a huge bank, not enough production, and that's not something which you will see bwapi getting stuck on. bwapi a little bit more sophisticated, building lots and lots of gateways, but it will still have to contest with the might of Icebot. Icebot has got the natural, still has got no third, and that's unfortunate. Keeping tabs on it with observers is bwapi. Oh dear, and Ice running out of building space too. So bwapi really running away with this, taking more bases. Worker count not ridiculous. We saw Nightcat and Forcebot with over 100 workers. That's in an endgame situation not good, because it means you'll have a much smaller army to fight with. And bwapi will now have to try and break Ice. How do you break a position like this? That really needs some doing. The Vulture is getting a scan down, but bwapi's got the entire map with the exception of these 2 island maps, which is unfortunate. There is no bot which can handle these, so if you've got these islands, and now bwapi is encroaching upon the territory of Icebot, the natural is mining out slowly but surely. Lots of tanks. Ice really can't take a third, especially now that one is fortified with cannons. And even the dropship can't really get out. So bwapi's got things locked down pretty nicely, building lots of cannons all over the place. And how did these 2 must have been dropped? Oh well. And the Reaver's coming back again. And now long distance mining, it's mineral only. But Ice really needs a third, and bwapi, it needs to attack into the Terran wall of death with all these tanks on the high ground, on the low ground, buildings in the way. And the question is, what's bwapi going to do? Lots of units flapping about, but no real game plan as far as I can see. We've got Arbiters, we've got Reavers, we've got High Templars, we've got shuttles, but there is no actual large-scale engagement being done. Nice shot in the face. Oh, that's an EMP. Pretty well done, but unfortunately Reavers don't have that many shields anyway. So, yeah, I'm going to speed it up just a notch. And ooh, that's a pretty pro stasis, I'd say. You've got all the you've got all the science vessels, but you've got all your arbiters as well. And you can see bwapi with a huge bank. Ice trying to poke out. Ice has got 110 army supply. Not really working for it at the moment. And bwapi is flapping about like, is it going for a recall or is it trying to do anything? The main army standing here. There are still some mines. Ice on 100 supply. A couple of bulldogs into this position, but not really working. And bwapi can't really find a hole to poke. Ice though is being worn down slowly but surely. And bwapi doesn't really dare to come to grips with these tanks, but slowly pushing in, and is now fighting the tanks. The last tank on the high ground is being poked down by arbiters, and that was the game. So, oh well, perhaps this tank might hold it. No, the arbiters do it in. 2 army supply left for Ice. That's science vessel. Let's hop into the next game, which is Iron versus TSMU. And Iron, of course, still the perennial number 2 after Crazio, is pretty good. TSMU Zerg, we saw do the Zergling strat earlier. Let's see what it's going to do with this game. Might be something ridiculous, might be something not so ridiculous. Oh, and the run by! There are 3 vultures in the main. And that's going to be a lot of drones killed, lots of mining time lost. 2 Zerglings, but the Zerglings will be killed as well, and TSMU really needs a mutant now. That is a lot of workers lost. Brilliant strategy by Ironbot. It is the only Terran or the only bot in existence which does run by. There is a single muter going for the weak one first, and TSMU losing so many workers, down to 10 workers versus 27. Iron should immediately take a natural, isn't doing so. TSMU with a round of workers, foregoing any more army supply. It's no, muters are being built. There is some gas. Oh, and another run by. Oh, that's so cruel. Iron doing it again, and TSMU is now chasing vultures out on the map. It hasn't decided that these vultures here are much more dangerous than those. This one, for example, running away, or these ones. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And Iron doing it again, and that is unfortunate. TSMU now with the single muter, trying to make it work, and Iron sacrificing hit points to kill more drones. I think that's a good decision. And will there be another run by? That's so cruel. TSMU saving it again, now being down to 14 workers. Some were saved to the natural, but if Iron gets more vultures up here, it's going to run by again, and that really stresses the need in this day and age that you need some kind of SimCity to prevent that, because that's 3 vultures, more are coming up, and I got this nasty feeling that Iron is going to run by again. And now these muters have seen it and are trying to disperse the muters before they run in again. TSMU building pure workers, no muters are being built, no combat structures, a 3rd hatchery in base. Iron by now has got the natural up, and that's going to be an uphill battle for TSMU. The vulture cloud is there again, it's poking, and is it going to try a run by once more, or is it, are there too many muters now? TSMU's got some more muters, but they're all over the map, and that's not really, that's something that Iron likes, because these vultures are faster than muters. TSMU's got the worker count back up to a somewhat respectable level. More muters are being built, no 3rd for TSMU. How can he take a 3rd on this map? Iron though is very passive, staying on vultures, got the Valkyrie, and another one. Got the Scourge out already, and the Valkyrie dies. That's the Vulture Valkyrie, the Valkyrie. Now the muters are really getting some traction. TSMU could take a 3rd if he defends it somewhat properly. And Iron with the, I'd say, oh, now he's got Goliaths. Oh, and that's another Valkyrie loss. So Iron losing quite a bit of units. Now these Goliaths though are going to supply block TSMU. There are too many overlords out on the map, and TSMU hasn't got that much money anyway, so we'll be in a bit of a sticky situation. Iron has now found the right unit composition, is backing down from too many vultures, and TSMU will have to fight the Goliaths and the Valkyries simultaneously, but there are quite a bit of muters, and they sort of force the Goliaths into the Sunkens, which is pretty good as well. But still, it's a 2 versus 1 base situation, and that's not good, especially not if it's the Terran who has got the 2 bases. Iron taking the third, and although it's TSMU who can do quite ridiculous things, we'll have to fight pretty hard to make any of this work. Muta Force is being contained somewhat, it's not really getting that much over 20 supply. Goliaths at this point are just too good, and the Scourge and the Mutas are dropping like flies. Of course, oh dear, that's 2, yeah, with the Goliaths and the Valkyries, Iron's got quite a good hand of cards, and you can see once these Valkyries hit the safety of the turrets, they're okay. TSMU's got the third though. Will he be able to do anything with that? That's the big question, because Iron has got now double the amount of workers, double the army supply, and all its bases are defended. TSMU though, only 16 army supply. He has gotten that third base up at the cost of 10 army supply, and he is already down. The Wraiths now after the Overlords again. TSMU's got quite a few, but all the Overlords are out on the map, and there are just not enough Mutas, I feel, at this point. Third is not defended. There should be a Sunken. There are 2 Vultures over it. Iron is taking the fourth, and you can see where it's going to go from here. TSMU trying to tech, trying to make a desperate dash at something, but at this point it's not really working. Iron though hasn't got the highest army supply. TSMU can make sort of hold on in the middle of the map, but here is the sticky wicket. We've got turrets, and the turrets, ooh, why was that cancelled? Immediately cancelled, and it might have held on to those turrets. TSMU desperately fighting, clawing its way into the game, and I am trying to get any kind of turret up, but it's cancelling the turrets way too early. But the main problem is that this is the 4th base for Iron, and TSMU's gotten the 3rd operational. That's quite impressive. A couple of Sunkens, Sunken and a Spore would do wonders versus the harassment of Iron, and TSMU with 10 army supply. So TSMU is dropping in army supply, all kinds of cancelled turrets on the map, but Iron is just going to choke TSMU eventually. And the Vultures are in their 3rd. The worker count for TSMU is getting annihilated once more. There are so many turrets, and Iron is spending lots and lots of money on them, but also has some production capacity, and TSMU really can't get that army together, and now Iron's got that critical mass with the tanks bearing down on these Sunkens. Oh, the 1 tank actually. But if this Sunken falls, it will mean that all the supporting units will stream into the natural. Iron demonstrating why it is still the number 2. It is so good, it's playing like a boa constrictor. It will suffocate you, and taking all the bases all across the map, huge worker count, huge army count, harassing you to death, and then finishing you off slowly. So, next game. Oyvind Johansson and Brian Weber, 2 of the new guys, and they have been updating regularly. Oyvind, of course, the random, this time playing as a Zerg, and Zerg versus Zerg is an art of its own, and if you are going to play that as a random player, you better bring a good build order and some good decision making, otherwise you are going to suffer a little bit. And now we see that the Lings of Brian Weber are in the natural, while the Lings of Oyvind are trying to chase an Overlord, and that's exactly where it's going wrong. Brian Weber at this point has got 4 bases already. This one in a bit of a interesting position, but I guess it will still work. And now Oyvind is fending off the Zergling incursion, but the problem is that Brian Weber has got more workers, has got more bases, and has got more larvae, because he's got 4 hatcheries up already. And although Oyvind is chasing back, Brian Weber's got a really puny army supply. Where is he spending his money? It's really something. Only 1 army supply, and Oyvind might just get back into the game if only he'd leave this Overlord alone with his Zerglings. Now, retaking a base somewhere, probably, perhaps he has taken this base here, and if Weber refuses to make any more units, oh, but here are the Hydras, and Zerglings are a pretty good pick against an army only composed of Zerglings, and the worker count is almost double. Workers all over the map, 4 bases versus, 3, and Oyvind is really aggressive with taking these bases, and that is something. Oh, this base is being torn down already. But I must say that I like Oyvind's style. I like this Zerg style where you just take a lot of bases and see how many of them you can hold, and then make mass units. Weber, 50 workers, 4 army supply, and I really beg to question that, because it's giving Oyvind time to get back into the game, and Oyvind really has got this thing with Overlords, which is not really working out that well for him. And finally, Brian Weber is building more units, and we've got some Hydras. Hydras, of course, pretty good. And yeah, there we go. The Hydras have it. Now 5 Hydras versus 10 army supply worth of Zerglings. And Oyvind taking down a base of Webers. That's pretty cool. Weber with another base. And Oyvind with a Sunken. I think that's good. Brian Weber, I like the style, but he might be a little bit more decisive with combat units. It's only 16 army supply while you've got 100. It's 80 workers, 20 Hydras or something. Oh, this base just lived. And now it's the warpath. And the Hydras are flapping about a bit. Now going into the Sunkens, and that's just throwing away units. That was 10 Hydras for 1 Sunken, and that's definitely not worth it. This base, though, is okay. And you can see now the map swarming, because Brian Weber's got 153 workers. What the bloody hell we need to do with so many workers? You can't even put them all to work. And now is 185, 188, 190. And he will soon be maxed on workers. Oyvind, though, has got 1 worker. And I wonder where it is. It's mining happily here. It's 200 versus 1 worker. And Oyvind is... what's he building? That might be interesting. Oyvind is building nothing. And that was the end of the game. The game timed out with 200 versus 2 workers. And Oyvind was staging a brilliant comeback, but didn't get the time. Unfortunate. GG! And then we had another Nightcat. And Nightcat Terran is going to take on Ice. Ice, we saw 4 earlier to be Reaver, because it couldn't get a 3rd up. Ice going for the wall once again. And Nightcat going for some kind of bio play, and I really... perhaps in big game hunter games that is a valid thing, but in the game versus Ice Lab, I really beg to differ with that, because Ice, as you can see, is going... oh, it's going for an early tank push. That's a difference. With the barracks for scouting, so the side range will be nice and far. Ice has gotten 2 bases and is not really supporting the push. Oh, it's now with a Vulture. And the Bio Army is going to take apart this tank position. And Nightcat, wow, with the... that was some really courageous fighting. Tanks versus Bio, and now it is a minefield with 2 tanks, and I don't really think as a Bio player that's something you'd ideally like to do. Because these tanks are just going to blast your Marines to smithereens. The bunker is going to be a huge issue as well, and these medics... yeah, there you go. Boom! Oh god, there you go. Oh, that's pretty hideous. Ice taking a 3rd base, no 3rd yet by Nightcat. Nightcat again with a huge bank. Huge bank, 3rd base being taken, but Ice is now on the warpath, and Nightcat has not got enough production capacity. It's not really planning all that well, and Ice is just going to roll it up. I think if you macro really well, versus a slower bot like Ice, you might do something with Bio versus tanks, but as it is, it's not really working, because you've got way too much gas, too much minerals, you can't really spend it all, and Ice is running away with this game, and Nightcat Terran needs some work. Protoss was looking good. Terran Bio versus a Mech Terran is not really that well. So McGrave, I thought, well, let's see if you are going to take on Crazio, how well you do against another good Terran, which is Litterbot. Litterbot has got some issues, as you can see. It's got a nice wall, but that means that this SUV can't get back, and if it's a building SUV, which is now killed, which is good, it's going to be a bit of a problem. And now the first tank comes in, so McGrave leaves off the pressure. Natural being constructed, and Litterbot will of course construct that characteristic command center. Ooh, that was a very good hit by that tank. Very characteristically builds a command center on the high ground, and only if it's safe, and if he's got a small number of tanks to support that expansion, he will float it down and take that. Oh, there we go, 2 tanks, handful of bio. Ooh, but the tanks are somewhat exposed. And McGrave might have done a little bit more damage with a good run by, and a good run by, as we saw earlier from Iron, can prove to be quite effective. Now both players with the natural, and I usually say that is an advantage for Terran because Terran has got these tanks, and as a Protoss you'd ideally like to be one base up versus a Terran who goes mech. Now 4 tanks and a bunker. Leaderbot in a good position, no fancy tech coming up. Got a starport, perhaps see some wraiths later. Reaver just going to do its thing with gateways, and the Reaver might take a third, and that's also somewhere in the game where you need to determine, well, we've got the Terran contained, I need to take a third base. And yeah, I can build a Reaver, but if there are tanks, that's not going to work at all. And well, you can do a little bit of hard fighting, but then you've got to commit. And that Reaver, oh, snuffs it. And if you've got the map control like this, you might take 1 or 2 bases more. Leaderbot is not really going to push out anytime soon. You can hold this push for a long time with goons. And now the Zealots are in the tank line, so this push will be that much weaker. Leaderbot, regardless, decides to push for it. And every time, these medics are arriving just in the nick of time. These goons and Zealots can't really push versus this tank line with the Marine support, and you can't really get anything done. And Dark Templar is a good idea, but you need more Zealots, and the Zealots need to hit the tank, so you need to have some kind of a surround or do something with that. Army wise it's okay, but Leaderbot is just going to push with this very cost efficient bio supplement to this tank force, and the tanks now on the high ground beating McGrave back to the bridges. McGrave with the somewhat suspect decision making. And of course there are a couple of Reavers, but there are just too many tanks, and this position is nigh untakeable as a Protoss. Leaderbot refusing to take a quick third, just going for the throat, for the kill, and you can see how hard it is to stop a push like that. You need the numbers of units, you need the good Zealot flank on the tanks, and you may build an Arbiter, but you're not going to win the game with that. So that's the GG. Next up, we've got Purple Wave versus Steamhammer. And I thought, well, we've got McRave, and Purple Wave, of course, is one of the other good Protoss. So let's see how he's going to play. And I thought, well, Steamhammer is a good Zerg, so that might be an interesting game. Sorry, I always do that. I nearly missed the first engagement. A couple of cannons, not, well, I'd say okayly placed, but if you've got Hydras, they can range down this forge. And if they take down the one pylon, all your cannons are basically worthless. And I feel that's quite a bit of cannons. Of course, behind that you can build quite a number of probes. Oh, and if you can sneak a probe out, that's also very good. You can take a hidden third. And Steamhammer doing this one base play, which I question. I question because... why do I question it? It's not really... if you see the Protoss going 2 base cannons, you can't really get by with 1 base neuter. That's not really play as it is. And that is going to be... need to have a look at the time. That's not really going to be all that great, especially as Protoss has got so much money. Now 3 bases for Zerg, that's good. Natural up, and that is basically the decision you've got to make. If you've got the enemy contained, expand. You're not going to break him, most likely, because Zealots and Cannons and Corsairs are not going to be broken by a lot of Lings. In the normal world, you just got to take bases, make drones, build Hydras, and build more stuff. And lots and lots of Zerglings. And you can see now Steamhammer, the worker count is slowly rising. But now the Dark Templar is really taking a toll on these poor Lings. More Dark Templars coming, and the High Templar as well. Oh, and the Storm does in... oh, great number of Lings. So Purple Wave has got the huge army lead now, and Steamhammer has a handful versus Dark Templar, High Templar, and also a lot of Scourge. So if Scourge, Corsairs. So Steamhammer is doing okay, but might need a little bit more substantial army. Purple Wave, as soon as he's broken out, taking a third, good decision, not really pressing the enemy too hard yet, just beating it back, getting yourself a little bit of breathing room, and storming an Overlord, always a good idea. Ooh, this is so close. if this Zerg army catches it. You can see now Steamhammer's got a greater spire, but only got 17 army supplies, so that's a really suspect combination of units. Purple Wave with the interesting building setup. And this game is way out of control because it's not really working at all. Lots and lots of Scourge. And Purple Wave has been sitting back here for ages. Steamhammer taking a 5th. And the Guardians killing some probes. This is a wacky matchup, I can tell you that. Purple Wave almost maxed. Steamhammer sitting back on only 25 workers. That's not an awful lot, and that's a crazy game. Will we have Storm? No, the Guardians are falling to the Corsairs. That could be expected with the Scourge in the rear. And the Scourge just flee, so Steamhammer dropping the ball a little bit this game. Only 25 workers on 5 bases. Small army. And Purple Wave could have been a little bit more decisive, but is going to clean up the enemy. Yeah, attacking on all fronts, and the Scourge are really dumb. Attacking here, attacking there, attacking into the main. And there you go, main is being torn to pieces. That's the GG. And I'm going to pick the last game. It is Crazio versus TSMU, the number 1 versus the number 3, I think. We saw that last week, and it's still the case that Ironbot can't really take a game of Crazio. Perhaps TSMU can. TSMU is a miracle worker, and its Terran is very, very good. Very unconventional compared to Terran, but perhaps the Terran bot is the most conventional. But what we see here is a worker rush. Hello! That's new. I never saw TSMU do that. And Crazio's got 1 Marine, 2 Marines, and oh, perhaps with the repair, TSMU could be in a good position to do something here. And Crazio going for all out Marines, but only got 1 barracks. Oh, that's really, really astounding. But I feel with 2 Marines, with 3 Marines, these SCVs, it's a nice try, but you're not really going to make it work. Are you? Now 3 Marines, the SCV numbers are falling. The Marines are microing quite well. Ooh, but now it's 2 Marines and 3 Marines versus 3 SCVs. That is the game, surely. TSMU is not really building anything else. Very unfortunate. And Crazio is going for the immediate counter. Not taking any time, not taking any chances. TSMU's run out of, well, it's going to build an SCV, but that's the game. And that was this week's broadcast of the Student StarCraft AI tournament. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. See you then. Goodbye.